Hi, everyone. My name is Samir Daoudi. I'm a Microsoft MVP specializing in business applications and specializing in Power Apps, I would say. Today, we'll be talking about how we can build autonomous agents with Copilot Studio. I've been working with Microsoft technologies for over 15 years. Started my career with .NET and SQL Server. Quickly moved to SharePoint. I worked with pretty much all versions of SharePoint since WSS 3. And when Power Apps was introduced around 2016, before it was known as part of the Power Platform, I got interested in that and had the chance to work with different clients, different sectors, from public to government agencies, private sector. It gives you a lot of exposure. And I tend to blog on a regular basis. I think LinkedIn is gonna ban me at some time because I'm posting too much. You can reach out to me on probably LinkedIn is the best thing, or you can follow my blog, Samtech365. So today we're gonna talk about creating autonomous agents. So first thing, why do we need to care about agents? Different considerations for building agents. What are the key things you need to keep in mind when you are building agents? What are the core components to master when you're building agents, regardless of the type of the agents? And then we're going to cover the different types of agents, so different spectrum of agents. We will look at some use cases for when you should use one versus the other. And finally, we will create an agent for the use case I'm going to be describing. So a company has different products. They receive a lot of emails about those products, people asking about price, features, functionalities, and they want to offset processing those emails and replying to the customers to an autonomous agent. So, and we'll finish up with some Q&A. Right. So Copilot is everywhere. If you look on LinkedIn, every other post is about Copilot and agents, and sometimes it's too much. It feels like it's too much. So let's go back to the basics. Why do we need agents? So agents can work on your behalf 24/7. There is always a point for the end users to reach out to get answers. They are really good to automate repetitive tasks, things which takes a lot of your time, and probably your time is best used to do something else. Provide 24/7 support. They tend to give consistent and accurate answers, and they highlight tend to. So depends how your data is and how you build those agents. They're kind of reliable, right? Also, when you are combining different knowledge sources, you can unlock certain information. If you give your Copilot enough information, they can unlock certain hidden information. It allows small companies to scale quickly, and I'm going to give you the use case of my own company. I'm working on specific use case. I'm going to describe that later. Um, Agents are not just, if you look at the different chatbots or different agents, most of us think AI or Copilot is an agent or chatbot I can talk to, ask questions, get answers. Now you can scale that and go to the next level where the agent can take actions on your behalf, can do tasks, raise a help desk ticket, send an email, get me some data from different source. Now with the fact that you can access other systems through APIs and through I'm not gonna say pro code, but little bit of code, you can provide additional functionalities, additional features to your agents, and you can drive real business values. So especially when we're talking about the repetitive, complex tasks, so a lot of them can be offset to an agent. Now, when we talk about agents, there are some important things that we need to keep in mind. We're not talking in a scenario where you have, for example, ChatGPT, which can use the entire internet as a knowledge source. And when we say the public domain or the entire internet as a knowledge source, that's a big problem, especially in the corporate world. So generative AI and in the corporate world, we tend to ground the knowledge for the agents. So we say, don't go get me any information from the internet, any forum or any public website. I want you to only look at this set of documents, whether these are the product documents, policies and procedures, company handbook, anything like that. So the data quality is really important, whether it's specific files or system. It depends what you give to your agent. So data quality is the key bit here. Now, when we go back to the first point, use case clarity, let's try not to create an agent which does everything, right? Try to have very specific specialized agents. one for HR. Even in HR, probably I can have one for complaint, one for leave request, one for, I don't know, any other topic. But the fact that you create small agents specialize in to do one specific task is gonna make maintaining those agents and debugging if there's any problem much easier. And with agents, you have orchestration, so they can talk to each other. If an agent need to go get information from another agent, it can make a call to that agent and come back. So let's try not to have very complex agent which does everything. So you need to have clear use case. Data quality, we spoke about that. Now the user experience, and we're gonna come back to that in the demo. You have mainly two options when you are building your agent. Either you leave it open and use generative AI, where it's more natural discussion with the user. You ask question, the agent answers in more natural way, or you can have the second approach, which I don't like much, which is more robotic approach. So you're going to create entities, and then if it's this, do that, and you're going to start asking the user choose one of those options, click on option. It doesn't feel natural, doesn't feel human. So the user experience is not going to be great. Now, security and compliance comes back to the data quality. I would say they're both linked together. Now, if you are saying my agent uses this SharePoint site as a knowledge base or this document library to answer the questions that the user is asking, we need to look at and consider the security, because if you have there some documents which have unique permissions, let's say we have a big library of all the company policies and procedures, some documents have unique permissions that are only accessible by finance. Now, when we both ask Copilot the same question, based on our permission, it's going to answer differently. And this is really interesting to consider. If we go a little bit down in the details and try to understand what's happening behind the scene, when you feed data to your agent, probably SharePoint is the only place where you, for the time being, where you can control who access the data. Everything else, whether it's a public website, upload a file, other systems are coming like accessing ServiceNow and SAP. But with SharePoint, what's happening is that Copilot is not gonna read your data or store your data. It's gonna dig into the SharePoint search index. And if you've done a little bit of SharePoint configuration in the past, you know that SharePoint maintains two indexes. You have the content index and you have the security index. So the content index is a big table which says those files contain information and keywords, metadata, these kind of things. And for each row, you have another index, another big table which says this file is only accessible by these groups, these Android ID groups. So when Copilot needs to dig into that information, it's not going to read your files directly into SharePoint. It's going to read the SharePoint search index. And when you get the result, it's going to trim the result to only display things that you are supposed to see. So you get to my point why data quality is important and your SharePoint tenant and search configuration needs to be in a good place. But think about security and compliance when you are building a Copilot agent. Now, when it comes to integration, let's say you want your agent to go and get some information from a third-party system, whether we have an API or a connector. The way the Copilot agent is going to connect, or under which account is going to connect to that system and get the information, is also something to consider. Whether you want to use a service account to run as that service account and get the information. Let's imagine we have a third-party system for sales orders, right? And someone is asking Copilot agent, what's the status of order number this, right? So we need to go get the information from using Power Automate, get the information from that system and display that in the conversation. Now, if you decide, I'm going to make it simple and use service account with access to everything, now you're exposing information that potentially the user should not have access to. But it's easier for you to configure because it's one service account, connects to everything, that's it. Second approach, I'm going to use the logged in user credentials and do the query with that user, not with the service account. Now you're going to have some scenarios where the user doesn't have access to that sales order and so on. So there's something to think about. Same as building your user interface and the UX, it has to be continuous testing. So you're gonna build something small, get feedback, look at the analytics, the usage, the success rate of your agent, and keep building on top of that. Not to a point where it becomes a very complex agent, but try to gather feedback from the business users, from the end users' experience with that agent, and try to tweak that, especially the way the agent replies to the queries. So, core components of the agents. I would say there are probably, I'm not gonna spend too much in the prompt and intent, but three main components. The biggest one for me is the knowledge base. So where is the information that the agent uses to answer the questions? That's the information you point to. As I said, it can be SharePoint, it can be upload a file or point to a website. The conversation flow, how does the conversation go? Do you want it formal? Do you want it friendly? Do you want robotic in sense where choose and yes, no, and like very, very structured? And also actions and integration. So actions, these are tools that you give to your agent, say, send an email, send a Teams card to the to a user. I'm gonna give you a scenario. Let's say we are receiving emails from customers and we want to look at the emails. The customer is asking about the product, let's say prices or discount or anything like that. We have a knowledge base of all our products and we want the agent to say, okay, thanks for your email. This product is available at this price, blah, 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 discount, that's all. Now, what happens if the agent is not able to find that product? Or what happens if the email is about something else, not a product? Now, we don't want the agent to send an email back to the user and say, unfortunately, I have no information about this. Probably we should escalate it to someone else. So internally, we send an email to another team, say, please get in touch with this person asking about something I can do. So we offset 80 or 90% of the workload to the agent, but there will be some scenarios where the agent is not able to answer, and we need to stop it from going back to the user and saying, I can do that. I will show you that in the demo in a minute. So probably I should have put this as the first slide, but this is the spectrum of agents or the different types of agents. The first one and the very simple one is retrieval. You ask question, it retrieves an answer, gets you some information back. You go one level up, and then you start building custom tasks. So the agent now, instead of just being ask question, get an answer, now the agent can take actions, can take tasks. So the agent is going to raise a request on your behalf. The agent can go find information about purchase order status, run the task, and come back with information. This is the next level after the retrieval of information. The third type of agents is autonomous agents. So these are running in the background. You don't interact with them through chat window. There are events which wake them up, right? So when I receive an email, when a purchase order status has changed and things like that, you can look at them as similar to Power Automate. When something changes, they are the agent wakes up. They will try to understand what the query is, looks in the knowledge base, and then reply to that, right? And this is what we're going to be covering today. So some use cases of those types of agents. Retrieval. So you have, I'm getting old. You have an IT help desk. How do I do this? So you ask question, the agent replies with an answer. Project tracker agent, you ask for status of project. Again, find me the information about something specific. So this is the first type. The task-based agent is request a new laptop. So this is going to create a request, send that to IT, say this user wants a laptop of this type, and so on. So it does something as a task. Budget management agent, again, it runs some sort of task. And finally, you have the autonomous agents where lead gen agent, there is a scenario where the agent detects something and it wakes up, it runs, it does something on your behalf. So these are very powerful type of agents where you are not interacting with them through a chat window. All right. So this is the use case we're going to be talking about today. We have 5 products, right? And we receive a lot of emails from customers asking about what does this product do? Where does my data live? How do I install it? How much does it cost? A lot of emails, right? Now, replying to each individual email is going to be time-consuming and fastidious. This is where autonomous agents come to play. So we're going to build an agent who's going to read the email when it comes. It has to have certain conditions to trigger. So in this case, the email needs to have specific subject title. And it will look at the knowledge base and try to answer the question to the user. So the response is going to be another email sent back to the user. All this is autonomous. We're not doing anything. It's running in the background and it does everything for us. There will be some scenarios where the agent cannot answer that. Someone is asking about shoe size, which is not in our area of expertise. So we're going to cover all these. Right, demo time. I have to put this one. Any question before we start the demo? Nope. Great. Stop me anytime. The room is not that big. You can hear me, right? Yeah. Right. So the mouse is going down. I don't know who thought that having like inclined desk is a good idea. Right. So the first thing, we go to Copilot Studio. You can have free license. You can renew it forever, as far as I'm aware, for development purpose. Hopefully they won't change that. Start. Let's go. Good start. That's a really good start. Right. I think we should fix the internet before talking about agents. في هذا الواي فاي ولا هذا okay, fair enough. Right. So I'm going to go to a dev environment. In this case, I will hotspot from my phone. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to start creating our agent, and it's the same experience. So you go to create new agent. You have the option of describing what you want your agent to do here, but we're going to skip that. If you can articulate what you want your agent to do, probably you can type it here, but I want to take you through the manual process and configure each step manually. So I'm going to skip to configure. Is it good, or should I zoom in? Zoom. Yeah. Yes. So we're going to give our agent a name. Let's call it you can have an icon. I prepared an icon for this demo. This guy. And I will just create the agent right now without putting any description or any knowledge, just to speed up the process. Also, because it's going to be challenging to type in this incline. Right. So we have our agent here. I'm going to edit certain bits for this agent description, and I will start by uploading the content. Remember, we said we have 5 main products, and we are expecting people to contact us asking about different things, price, features, these kind of things. So thankfully, I have prepared the content for this demo, and we have for each product. So for each product, we have one PDF file which says, this is what the product does, key features, how was it was built in terms of technology, benefits, and so on. So we have like product brochure for everything, right? These are the files which we'll be using in this agent as knowledge base. So let me quickly upload the files under knowledge. So if you look on the top, you have different tabs for definition of your agent, the knowledge base. So here, I'm going to add knowledge. And as I said, you can have different sources. You can point to a public website, SharePoint site, Azure AI Search, Dataverse, SQL, and so on. But in our case, we'll upload those files, right? I'm gonna drag these files here. I have 5 products, add to agent. Now what will happen is that this data will be uploaded to behind the scenes SharePoint embedded, and Copilot Studio is gonna parse those files, understand them, and store that information somewhere. While it's doing that, I'm gonna go back to the overview of the agent, and I will give it a description. So you've been told, so the knowledge is being processed here. That's fine. So far looks good. Now, by default, when you create an agent in Copilot Studio, even if you are giving it some knowledge, it can still go to the public domain and get you some information. So we need to turn off that, right? I go to settings. Under generative AI, there is a section here. I think so. This one. Publish. I was saying there is a setting in the generative AI section for your agent to say, don't get me anything from the internet. Just look at the knowledge I've given you. If you can't find the answer there, that's it. You can consider that session as failed.
Will this impact cost? It goes to the internet?
It will, yeah. There's something I'm not sure about. Maybe you know, Mahmoud. Is there a way to protect your agent from DDoS attack? Because there is a cost involved, and that people keep querying that. If you put an agent in a public website, is there a way of managing that, avoiding people having to?
That, for example, in Defender for Cloud, there is a new SDK.
Right.
So in Defender for Cloud, there is a concept called CNAP.
Right.
So if you track your AI activity and give a threshold, so what it does is that during the audit period, it understands your general way how the AI will interact. And if it goes beyond that threshold, so what it does, Defender for Cloud queries your Azure DDoS and the WAF interface and gives you that protection. So it is by default Defender for Cloud today has a backend integration. Now that's a free version. In the advanced version, there is an SDK actually possible, where the interface, your API interface, which is there, it is again through app service. So you can actually create that threshold. So today it is on that way. And the agentic AI also, you can create that threshold.
I need to speak to you about that.
Yeah, just one key point here that when it comes to the Defender for AI, it is way costly. So you need to make sure that every token is being processed through the AI. Also, it's being processed through the Defender, and Defender for that token itself, it's very costly. It's even more than the actual AI product itself.
So let's leave it off.
Let it crash.
So the knowledge base, all the files that I have uploaded have now been processed. They're ready. For some reason, I'm not able to edit the settings of this agent. I'll come back to that later. So yeah, first we need to enable use of generative AI, right? I think that's what was blocking me from. We have our knowledge here. I'm going to come back to the tools and triggers. But let me settings. It was a great start.
Please, for Knowledge Hub, can we attach with structured database?
Attach database.
Yeah, link with a structured database.
Yes, you can. Yeah. And so Dataverse SQL Server, you can see.
Any database or only Dataverse?
The moment Dataverse and SQL Server.
Only Dataverse and SQL Server.
Yeah.
And how to define the relations between the data, or it's auto-defined?
I've not seen it smart enough to know, like, let's say product table, and then it needs to go to product categories and
Yes.
suppliers. What I think is best, and I would prefer to do, is to create a view with my data ready in one big view, and that's going to be the only view that Copilot is going to be looking at. So sales orders, line items, product name, everything is in one big table in a view.
There's a relation between the
Yeah,
data.
but you create a view with all the relationship, all the joins between your tables in one big SQL view, and you make that view available to Copilot. So in this case, it doesn't have to go from one table to the other to resolve IDs and these kind of things. So you prepare the data, make it available to Copilot through view.
You know that this is very interesting because yesterday I had a customer that when it comes to the database, if the engine does have a direct access to the whole database, for sure, he will have access to a data that it shouldn't be accessible for the engine. So with what you're trying to say, I need to validate that. So for one view, I will just have a limited view for a certain data, which is I don't need the whole data to be
Exactly.
for the end user.
Well, there are two things. There is a security aspect that you are exposing the entire database just for the sake of, and not just performance. If your data is not properly structured, like let's say your foreign key IDs are not properly named, Copilot may struggle to know this ID is coming from that table, or things like that. So also, if you create the view under a different schema, let's say Copilot dot view name, that's the only permission that the service account will have. Yeah. So all right, okay. Let's carry on. So we uploaded here we go. We uploaded the files. The files have been processed. Now Copilot has that knowledge. The second bit we need to do is to turn off general knowledge. So this is the part where it goes to the internet and comes with any sort of answers. I'm going to turn this off. Let's try the agent quickly. So in Copilot Studio, you have the test window or the chat window. But really, we're not planning to use it that way. So let me write a quick prompt here. So I'm gonna say, what is HR 365, or maybe legal case 365, and so this product is legal case management product. It has this feature right now. So what's happening on the left side is that it's looking at all the brochures and trying to find the information. So first it tells me, yep, these are the different features. And regarding Word document generation, offers extensive document management capabilities. So far, I've not written any code. Just define the agent, give it a name, upload the files, they get processed, turn off the public knowledge. That's it. So far, we're good. Now, you see that you have also a citation where it found the reference. Bear in mind that we are building something which is going to be externally facing. So it will answer to the customer sending email about our product. We don't want the email to say reference 1 is this, reference 2 is, because these are internal working documents. So we need to make sure that we exclude that from the response, right? So, right. Next step is we want our agent to be able to send emails, right? Not just understand the question and answer it, but also be able to send emails. So for that, we go to tools. It was previously called actions. Now it's tools. You know, Microsoft likes renaming things and moving menus around. So you have different tools that you can use, right? I'm gonna search for send and email. I think this has been briefly covered in the keynote, where I think you're saying you can send emails without telling it the to failed and the subject failed and the content. Just say, I want you to send an email. No, but I'm not giving it too much information. Just send email, right? I want to add and configure a box here. Slightly things needs to warm up. Okay, so the action name, I'm gonna change this to send an email. I'm getting rid of the P2. I may want to add a description. Right. So I'm gonna say in the send an email description that I want you to This operation sends an email to the customer. I'm giving it some context and some instructions as if I was talking to a person. This is what you're going to be doing. So make sure that you format the email in an HTML format, not just plain text. Be friendly and add at the end for more information, please visit our website. Okay. Right. So I'm going to save this. Remember, I've not set any particular properties of this action. If I wanted to change certain things, I can do that. So I can go to the different fields and
the previous is it prompted or this is just a description?
this is the description of what the action is. But I'm telling Copilot this is what the action is going to be doing. So I'm not changing anything or customizing. It's not the prompt. It's just the send an email. I'm telling it has to be HTML, be friendly, and so on. The prompt is coming later. Yeah.
Citation or the attachment, that also can go right in the
Yes.
email.
We're gonna show that and
Yeah,
then we
okay.
will remove them. Yeah. So if you want to customize things like the subject, let me show you how it works as is right now. So I will run the same prompt. Okay. But this time I'm gonna say send me the response and an email just for me to test this. Again, it goes through the knowledge source, search for the information, and then goes to the next step, which is send an email. Well, I hope you understood what send an email is. Right, here we go. You can see that the email format is in HTML format. The first time I'm testing this or running this, it asked me to authorize it, so allow this. Here we go. I've not defined the subject. I've not defined anything. Just comes with legal case overview because I've asked about legal case. Didn't do anything. Just Copilot and understand that the subject should be about this. So if I say, what does timesheet 365 do? How can I get it deployed in my tenant? And now I'm going to throw something deliberately to show you what happens when Copilot doesn't know the answer. And what is your preferred color? Okay. Sorry for the typo, but it's going to understand that. So first two questions, it has the information somewhere in the documents and the brochures. Third one, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Right? It found the information in these documents. Fair enough. Next, it moves to the send an email. Here we go. You see the subject is now information about timesheet and its deployment. So the subject changes based on what you're asking. So what it does, how it gets deployed, and somehow it says my preferred color is blue, and I have these problems here at the end because it took the answer straight as it was and just sent that in email. I need to get rid of these because they don't make any sense for the external user to know that reference one is this PDF, reference two is that PDF. Doesn't matter. You found the information, you send that to the user. That's absolutely fine. Right. Right. Fair enough. So to do that, what I need to do is I have to go back to the tool, which is send an email tool, and say here before sending email, remove any citations. Okay. And maybe instead of sounding robotic like this, maybe we start with the greeting. Hi, name of the person. Okay. I can do it later. Save. I'm going to do this the exact same prompt. You see that there is no code here. You just tell it what you want it to do, and somehow it figured it out. So That's the beauty of it. And also, let's say the risk of something like this. We may end up with the same scenario with Power Apps and Power Platform in general, where anyone can build applications. It's fine until this application becomes business critical and there was no consideration to performance or security or data structure, archiving, anything like that, and then it becomes a problem. Now, if you allow anyone to create agents like this, it's good. It's interesting, but we need to have some sort of governance around it. So let me go back to my email and see if we got. Okay. Now it's saying, please provide the email address you would like to send the email to. Now it's failing. Doesn't know who I am. So even though I've literally copied the same prompt, send me the response in the email. Again, this slide is just for you to test how this works. Interesting. Okay, maybe publish. Fair enough. This is just to cover the citation and things like that. We'll come back to that later on. Now let's move to the autonomous part where we have a trigger. When the email comes, it's going to read that email, answer, generate the answer, and send it back to the user. Right. Now, so far I've been testing the agent manually. I can publish it in Teams or somewhere else, but I wanted to run so what I need to do is you go back to the overview and you scroll down to the trigger section. Now I'm going to add a trigger. The trigger is going to be when a new email arrives. Okay, and I don't want it to run on all the emails. I just want specific emails. So I'm going to say if the subject is this, trigger the agent, and then start doing something. So authentication is fine. Now I want the email come into my mailbox, and I want the title or subject to be query. Okay. This will cause a problem, but I will come back to that one. Just wanted to show you real life example of the possible challenges that you can come across and how to overcome them. When I click create a trigger or add a trigger, what's happening behind the scene is it's creating the Power Automate, right? The Power Automate is when an email arrives and then it does something, extracts something, and then calls Copilot and creates a prompt. Say, this is the body, answer this, whatever you do with that, okay? So in the same environment that I'm creating my Copilot, which is the viewers, at the same time, there is another Power Automate being created for this Copilot. The good thing is that if you want to delete the Copilot agent, all the dependencies will be deleted. So all the Power Automate, there will be no left over or anything like that, right? So if I go to my flows, okay, you can click on the trigger from here, which takes you straight to Power Automate, opens the flow for you. But I will show you how this has been created. So when the email arrives, this is the trigger of Power Automate. The two and the query subject query are here. Now we have call Copilot agent, and this is the prompt that I'll be sending, right? So that's all it does for now, and it's more than enough. But there is a problem because we may be getting emails in text format, plain text, or HTML emails with signatures and complex body object. Do we need to send everything to Copilot, or we want just the text or the wording of the email? So let me do that. I'm gonna go here and send an email to myself. The subject is gonna be query, and then I'm gonna say as legal case 365 integrate with net documents. Okay. Yeah, something like this. So send. got the email. Now this should fire the Power Automate up. So if I look here, go. So Power Automate has detected the new email arriving, and now it's gonna call Copilot. To see the activity and all the runs of your Copilot, you go to the Activity tab, and this shows you the automated one and the manual checks, right? So these were me testing in the chat window. This is the automated one. Now it looks like this has failed, even though it doesn't say that, but it stopped at search source. So on 2 steps, search and then send an email. Somehow it has stopped here. I can click on the run instance. It's kind of similar to Power Automate, where you can look at what's happening. Now, when email arrives, it gets the email content and sends that to Copilot. Copilot gets something like this, which is not really what I want. This is the full JSON definition of the email. I don't want that. If you look here, you have the body preview, which is just the text of what matters in the email. Doesn't matter the header, the signature, the date, this doesn't matter. I just want to get the information, the text you typed, and that's it. So what I'll do for that, I'll go back to Power Automate. I'm going to edit my flow. And here, instead of using send let me switch back to the classic mode. Because I don't know if this is. Right. This is the part where Power Automate passes the email to Copilot. And this is the thing which has a lot of information, a lot of unnecessary information. So instead of using body, I'm going to say use content from body preview, which is, if I can type that correctly, this is just the text in the email, not the everything around it. Right? Somehow it put that in for each. And I wanted to say, okay, and send an email to the person who sent it. Because remember, Copilot now doesn't know where the email came from. Initially, it was me in the Copilot Studio testing. It knew I was logged in, knows who I am. Now, the Power Automate is capturing an email from the external world and send that to Copilot, say, answer this. Okay, Copilot knows that at the end, it needs to send an email to someone. Who's that person? I need to pass the email address from Copilot, from Power Automate to Copilot. So the prompt is going to be something like this. And reply to. So use the content from the email and reply to. This is where I will pass the email address of the user who sent the email. So it will be the from box in Power Automate. With an HTML formatted email using the send an email action, right? Just this. So we have an action, send an email. I'm saying, this is a query, respond to this person using that request. Right, okay, save the Power Automate. Now, I will send the same query again. Right, my email arrived. Now Power Automate should pick that. That's not the one. You know, this refresh button is becoming like, if you're old enough, remember in the old days where Windows is stuck and you can get that window, and it's like, I can't stop doing that. I don't know why. It's becoming addictive. Like refresh. Is it there? Here we go, 7 seconds. Okay, perfect. So in theory, we should get new activity in Copilot. I have another button here.
I have a question. If I am comparing between doing this service using the Copilot and using it only with Power Automate with OpenAI API connection,
Right?
I can do both in the same scenario. Which one will be more less cost? Yani cost wise.
Not sure about the licensing.
Not like, yeah, Copilot. It's how they.
So with generative AI, it's not the same as direct messaging, because I'm sending a request to Copilot and the way it calculates the cost of that request, the request can be quite complex and it may require to do a lot of things, look at different data sources and things like that. So message-based cost versus direct messaging, I'm not really sure about licenses. Mahmoud, do you have any idea about license? Copilot license?
Copilot license, it does have different stages, which is 200 for video and
Yeah.
it
But
depends
he's
on
comparing OpenAI direct request.
OpenAI.
Yeah.
The OpenAI
Yeah.
is consumption based.
I know, but Copilot's consumption base also. When I activate the Gen AI, it's consuming per tokens.
Token, but you can go with the reserved tokens as well. They do have a commitment token, which is
It's a $200
yeah.
subscription. That's the free one. Yeah, we are using here paid or free.
I'm
Copilot.
using free version.
The free, the dev free. So he's giving response without any cost right now.
Yes. Because I'm using free version. But I'm in dev environment. I'm not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that in the.
I'm in dev, just showing.
I mean, the free version is not applicable for production. You cannot do it as production product.
Well, it's production product right now.
No,
Yeah,
this is my dev
I
environment.
understand.
Why also compliance?
As a compliance wise. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we are
The right course.
We are in the office now. I was sorry.
So the second run, now, as you can see, automated run, 2 steps, and they want to send an email. Now let's have a look at the email I got. So
made for
the subject
backdoors.
comes with integration with legal case, dear, then the name of the person. Thank you for your inquiry, blah, blah, blah. And it kept this citation here. I need to do something about that. But it gave me the answer. And then at the end, it added, if you want to know more, click here to know more. So now this can run while I'm sleeping, respond to most of the emails. I need to do something else if I want to, things that were received and Copilot was not able to answer them or didn't have the information in the knowledge base. So let's say I received 30 emails. I need to look at 4 tomorrow morning, and the rest have been already taken care by Copilot. But in a nutshell, this is what autonomous agents are. That's it. I'm over time. Sorry, you can shoot me if you want. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's so much,
really
Samir.
not possible to know. I don't know. Climbing with the mountain.
Thank you so much, Samir.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for such an insightful session on Copilot Studio. And to promote him, he has a license optimization solution, which you can reach out to him and get it. That's not a free solution. You can ask him for the discounts if possible. Samir, may I have
So much.
a small token of thanks from our community? With that, I invite Komi on the stage. Komi also has traveled all the way from Nigeria. He also managed a user group in Nigeria, and he's pretty famous if you are using Dynamics 365 community. He writes so many blogs. He's a technical consultant. Thank you, Komi, for coming all the way from there. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for staying up to this moment. All right. So my name is Komi Siabi. Just like he said, from Nigeria. I am